Assalamu alaikum, hello, welcome back to my channel. I hope all of you guys are doing well. Today's video is actually a little bit scary for me to share. I have never shared this with anybody. I think none of my family members know this, and I decided to share this with you guys now because I felt the need that it could help somebody. And I'm about to share with you guys why I made the decision to never, ever, ever, ever travel without a mahram ever again. I've learned my lesson, and unfortunately this incident has to happen in Medina, where the Prophet ﷺ is buried. We were like literally next to the Prophet's mosque, and it was like literally few feet away, and I couldn't believe in all places that this has to happen to me in Medina, but anyway, that incident literally have forced me to come to the conclusion that there is no way that I will ever travel by myself. Well, I wasn't traveling by myself, but without a mahram, without a family member. And I'm gonna go ahead and share this with you guys. I hope you guys stay tuned and learn something from me. That's the whole purpose I'm sharing this. What really happened was, long story short, I was accepted to Umrah. I decided to go with a group of people that I trusted. My Quran teacher goes to Umrah, takes his students and their family members every year. And this year, which was 2014 at the time, April, I decided to be part of them. And I was accepted without mahram because I was traveling with people I knew, and it was just I don't know, strange that I was accepted without a mahram, and whereas some people were not accepted. And I thought I was lucky. I was very fortunate, felt very fortunate to travel in the blessed land, and that was Mecca and Medina, and we were gonna stay there for 2 weeks. It was just one of the best experiences that I've ever had, honestly. Just being there, just thinking about it now and being there, like imagining myself there, it just gives me that goosebumps, because it's like I've witnessed the place that history happened, where the Prophet was born, where he was buried, and it was just such a beautiful experience. But I also had one of the worst experience there too. And so what happened was, lucky for me, I had two beautiful, lovely women, older women in their 50s and 60s, early 50s and early 60s, who literally took me under their wing. I was never alone. I was always with somebody. I was always with my group. But just the one time that I was alone, this incident has to happen to me, and I'm just shook. I'm shook. So this one time I decided to stay and not go to the mosque because I couldn't pray, and everybody else sort of hid there. My roommate, the two older ladies that I was with, all decided to go to the Prophet's mosque and pray there. I stayed behind, and I decided to order room service. Why did I do that? I decided to order room service, and there's a guy that came. I opened the door. I decided to take the tray from him, but he said that it was heavy, and he would prefer to come in and just kind of drop it off. And I agreed hesitantly. I didn't feel comfortable, to be honest with you. My gut feeling told me that that was not okay. I was alone, but I decided to still let him in. But I opened the door, and I stood right next to the door, right? Because we're alone, and I didn't feel comfortable. So he said, okay, he turned to me, he said, is there anything else you need? I looked over just to make sure that I had all the food that I ordered. And the one thing that I was craving more than anything was oatmeal. And he didn't bring it. And I said, oh, you're missing the oatmeal. I really wanted that. And he said, it somehow he didn't quite understand what oatmeal was. I kept saying oatmeal, porridge. I kept using different terms. He wasn't really getting it. And I mean, he spoke okay English. I mean, he can speak and understand, but somehow it's just this one thing he didn't quite get it, you know. And he said, you know what, go ahead and call them, maybe they would understand, right? So I left the door, I walked to my bed where the phone was located. I picked up the phone, I sat on the edge of my bed, and I kind of turned and he was there. I was kind of expecting him that he would leave, right? But he just sort of like was there, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. I didn't feel comfortable, but I went ahead and I started to dial. And I picked up, like I dialed, and the line was busy, and I hung up again. I picked it up again and I dialed, the line was still busy. And I'm like, oh, you know, the line is busy. Is there a way I can just write it for you, maybe like oatmeal, and you can take it to them? Or like, I couldn't even finish that sentence. He was like, oh no, it's okay, I'll help you. I'll call a different like number, or I'll help you. But can I sit next to you? I swear to God, wallahi, like I cannot even like make this up. He literally said that, and he said it so naturally, like it was okay to say something like that. And at that moment, I was stayed in shock, but I literally had to bring myself back to reality and tell myself, you know, that this guy this guy just asked you to sit next to you while you're on your bed. Like, and I looked at him directly in his face and I said, you need to go now. I became very stern with him, because at that point I knew that he had a very really bad intentions, right? Who asks, what Muslim would ask to sit next to a girl in a room alone while she's sitting on her bed? And I said, you need to leave right now. And he said, you don't know, sister, I'm sorry, like this, you misunderstood me. I'm just trying to help you. I couldn't even let him finish. I said, if you don't leave now, I'm gonna call the manager. The minute I said the manager, he literally just rushed out of the room. Like, he didn't look back. He just like rushed out of the room. And 30 minutes later, my roommate comes in, one of the older ladies who, you know, took me under their wing, who was with me all the time. She comes in, I share that information with her, what has happened, and she was furious. Like, she was so angry. I've never seen her angry. Like, she was so angry. She said, we're not going to let this go. We are going to call the manager. She calls the manager. We describe the guy. He comes up. The manager comes with the guy, you know, and I could see the fear in his eyes. And I looked at the manager. Like, I didn't even say anything to the manager. I just thanked him. That's the only thing I said. Thank you so much. But I looked at the guy and I said, what right do you have to ask me that type of questions when you are Muslim and you know the rules and the law of Islam? You know, and this is a Muslim country. I told him, this is, like, of all places, in Medina. What right do you have to ask me to sit right next to me while I'm in bed? And he's literally was like interrupting me every time I tried to express what happened, because he didn't want me to say that because his manager was there. And I sort of kind of looked at the manager, and I could see literally, like, it looked like he went pale. Like, he was just in a state of shock. And he looked at the guy, and his shock turned into anger. And he literally just grabbed the guy and, like, this will never happen in America. And I can't make this up, I swear to you. He just, like, pulled his ear and twisted. And he was like, shh. You will let her finish, shh. So I just was like, that's all I wanted to say. Just want you to know. I told him, I just want you to know that I know you know it's wrong, but you still went ahead and asked me that question, and I just want you to know that I'm not going to let that go, that I want something to happen. Like, I want something to happen. Like, I want you to learn your lesson, is what I told him. And the manager literally thanked me, apologized, and took the guy, like, he literally pulled him by his ear like he was a child. I could see the fear in his eyes. And to be honest with you, after a little while, I've kind of started to feel a little bit sorry for him, because I knew obviously he was going to get fired, and I didn't mind, to be honest with you. I really didn't mind. And I'll tell you why. But but I started to become a little bit afraid for him because this is Saudi Arabia and the laws are very strict and harsh, and I didn't know what would become of him. So I became a little bit afraid for him, but at the same time, and that kind of like made me very regretful, like why did you open your mouth or something. But immediately I have to snap myself back to reality and tell myself, look, if that guy would have got the chance, he would have done something to you, you know. And to be honest with you, I believe that he probably tried this type of behavior multiple times because he just felt so comfortable, like the way he just asked, the way he was just so comfortable, you know, and which meant that he's tried a few times. I believe that Allah will let a person make mistakes a couple times in hopes that they will learn from their mistakes. But if they're not and they're, you know, persistent in their mistakes, then they will be caught. And I felt like that's what really happened. I felt like he probably did this to somebody. He succeeded in his really nasty intentions, and I felt like, you know, justice was served at the time. But I share this story with you guys because I know that there's a lot of sisters who travel alone. Like I was not even alone. I was with a group of people who I trusted, and this still happened to me, and it happened to me in a Muslim country. Maybe I was, you know, I did something wrong by letting him come in, knowing the fact that, you know, like I felt uncomfortable, but you know, he just made it so natural that this was just normal, and I didn't think of it much, but I felt really regretful that this has happened, or I blamed myself, and I was like, you let this happen, this would have never happened. I blame myself so many times, but I could have never foreseen this. Like in my wildest dream, wallahi, like I never thought this would happen to me in a Muslim country, in Medina of all places. I'm still in a state of shock, to be honest with you. So I share this with you guys so that you learn from this as well. Learn from my mistakes. If you're the type of sister who probably went through a similar situation, please let me know. I don't want to be alone. Like I felt very scared sharing this story, but I know that it can help somebody else. It happened, you know, a few years back. None of my family members knows until now. It's just I didn't share with them because it's already been taken care of. I didn't want to worry them, and but now I decided to share it because I mean it will not benefit anybody if I keep on my shut. But there's actually a second part to this story. Something even more crazy has happened when I traveled to India, and I'm also going to share with you guys. That is even more scarier than this story. So, and I'm gonna share that with you guys for the purpose to prove to you guys traveling alone is not it. Like I would never travel by myself. Like I didn't travel by myself, but I would never travel without my mahram, without a family member. As simple as that. And I hope you guys learned. And let me know what you guys thought about this story in the comment section, and I'll see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum.